Hello, my name is Jiang. I'm assistant professor in computer science at the Department of Computer Information Science and Engineering. Today, I'm glad to have the opportunity to present in the Nelms Lightning Talk series to introduce my research. And my topic is One Size AI Does Not Fit All, a step towards GeoAI. First, some background. Over the last decade, artificial intelligence has revolutionized the society. Especially, the deep learning technology has achieved a tremendous success in computer vision, natural language processing, and games. And the success of deep learning is largely driven by the availability of big labeled data, efficient computational hardware like GPUs, and smarter models and algorithms. Given the broad success in AI and deep learning, there's a same level of anticipation of AI in other scientific domains, like geodomains. And this is motivated by a number of societal challenges, like national water resource management, agriculture, and food security, monitoring coastal hazards, and mitigation and adaptation to climate change. So we know AI for geodomain is important. So what are the new opportunities? This is because there are emerging spatial temporal big data. As illustrated in this figure, there are remote sensing satellite images, ground and seaborne sensor observations, and physical model simulations, and citizen science data like geosocial media or volunteer geographic information. So how to define GeoAI from technical perspective? In general, GeoAI is an emerging area intersecting AI and geodomains, but there are two different ways to look at this issue. One approach is to use existing AI technologies to solve geodomain problems. But another perspective, which is what I look at the problem, is probe new AI methods to address the unique challenges of geodomains. And below, I want to list an example why this is not trivial. On the left is area imagery collected during North Carolina 2016 during Hurricane Matthew flood. And we can see in the area imagery, there are flooded areas. And suppose we want to clarify the flood locations in the image to provide a map estimate. One approach is to use existing computer vision and image classification methods to classify the pixels based on the color. On the middle is the result of such methods and called random forest. We can see the random forest model identified a lot of flood locations into the brown color, especially those exposed floodwater surface. But it missed the vast majority of the flood locations, especially those under the tree canopy areas. So it requires a significant effort in post-processing. On the rightmost is the result of our Turing-aware spatial machine learning model developed, which integrate this geographic terrain and water flow directions together with the image classification process. And it provides a more complete flood extent, reducing tremendous burden of the post-processing. So what are the unique challenges of GeoAI? First, the space is continuous, and we can easily have many thousands by many thousands of pixels, in contrast to a few hundred by a few hundred pixels in existing deep learning models for photos. And moreover, in such continuous space, there exists the effect of spatial autocorrelation, teleconnections, and heterogeneity. For example, nearby locations often resemble each other in this temperature map in the United States. This is called spatial autocorrelation. it violates the independence assumption of many traditional machine learning algorithms. And such location may not exist in nearby areas only. It can also exist in faraway locations, causing teleconnections. And distribution of data is also varying across the space, causing heterogeneity. For example, the distribution of temperature in Florida is very different from those in Minnesota. So we cannot train a model from one area and directly apply it to another. And there are also multiple spatial, temporal, and spectral resolutions, diverse noise, missing data, and gaps. Another important challenge is that many geodomain problems have existing domain physics and constraints. Here is an example of terrain topography, which plays a crucial role in hydrological applications. So why such constraints is important? It's because machine learning problem is often under constraints. In other words, you can get a trained model based on whatever training data is provided to the algorithm. So it can easily happen that you get a model perform really well on your training data, even on your validation and test data. But when you apply it to complicated real-world problems, the model performance is poor. And one way to address this issue is to incorporate more universal domain physics and constraints into machine learning models to enhance its generalizability and sample efficiency. Last but not least is the paucity of ground truth. Collecting ground truth in geodomain problem is uniquely challenging because it often involves sending a field crew on the ground or visually interpreting a high-resolution satellite images, requiring significant domain knowledge. So the process is slow, tedious, and expensive. So because of these challenges, deep learning and AI for spatial temporal data has been listed as an open research question. And my research focus on address some of these unique challenges and develop new GeoAI technology inspired by unique interdisciplinary applications. Next, I want to provide a few examples of such topics. First is our project developing a terrain-aware Earth imagery classification model for flood mapping. And the top figure illustrates our main ideas. Instead of consider this as a pure computer vision and the image segmentation problem, we consider as a terrain-based machine learning problem on 3D geographic surface. And we extract the water flow directions into a tree structure and put it in the backbone of hidden macro models, so that when we infer whether a location is flooded or not, it's not only based on its own spectral features, but also other locations in the upstream and downstream. On the bottom, I provide a real-world case study in Midwest flood in Omaha, Nebraska in 2019. On the left is a world view imagery. It captures the flood areas in the Missouri River and the tributary water. On the right is the initial deep neural network result from existing deep learning model in computer vision. And we can see it identify a lot of the flood areas, but still in the white circles, it failed to provide a smooth flood extent because of the obstacles such as tree canopies and noise and errors in the imagery. And now the right part shows our terrain-aware machine learning result, and it fills a lot of the gaps. And this is supported by NSF, USGS, and NOAA. Another project is the weakly supervised machine learning from imperfect labels with registration errors. And this is motivated by our collaboration with the US Geological Survey on National Hydrographic Dataset Refinement applications. A National Hydrographic Dataset, or NHD, is currently the most widely used dataset about surface water feature bodies, like rivers, creeks, lakes, and ponds. And it plays a crucial role in hydrological applications, like national water model and flood disaster response. And with the availability of high-resolution satellite remote sensing data, especially 3D point cloud data, the USGS is refining the NHD into a higher resolution with emerging AI and deep learning technologies. But one bottleneck is the limited high-quality ground truth annotation labels. So to address this challenge, we developed a weekly supervised machine learning frameworks. The main idea is to train deep neural network models from imperfect labels and conduct iterations. At each iteration, we can use the current neural network's pixel probability predictions to refine the annotations in the vector representation, and then retrain the model, redo the refinement and then until the model converges. On the right is a small case study on a real-world area imagery. We can see there's a river stream in this area, and the input annotation is in the red color. The target ground truth is in blue color, which is hidden in our training process and is used for validation purpose only. And now the model start iteration. At the beginning, we can see the predicted stream location. The white color is wrong. But through these predictions, the refined label in yellow color is shifted away from the red line as the input and getting closer to our target ground truth in blue lines. And as the model in 2 iterations, we can see the refined line in yellow color get closer to our ground truth, even though it's hidden from our iterations. And the model prediction also converges. And there are some other ongoing research topics in our lab. For example, we work on 3D deep learning for drug discovery. And we are collaborating with colleagues from the pharmacy department. We also work on spatiotemporal graph neural networks for traffic prediction problems. And in addition, we are currently collaborating with the Center of Coastal Solutions to develop novel spatial temporal transformer models in fusing satellite images and ECG samples for right-time monitoring. So these are some representative projects we worked on in our lab. For more information, you can visit our group website. We are looking forward to collaborations with colleagues on our campus. Thank you.